Today we are mourning the loss of a local hero, Bakersfield police officer David Nelson, killed in a car crash in the line of duty.
Tonight we have team coverage on this day of remembrance. Adam Herbetz is at the crash site in Northeast Bakersfield with a look back at Officer Nelson's life.
Our Tom Murphy spoke with the community with their messages of condolences for the officer's family.
Carol Ferguson is at Laredo Jail with new information on the man accused of starting the police pursuit that led to Officer Nelson's death.
But first, reporter Jose Gaspar is live in Glendale, where the fallen officer is being laid to rest today.
Kurt, this all began with the funeral service began with a church service at nearby Forest Lawn Memorial Park over in Los Angeles, just a few miles away from here. We are now awaiting the arrival of that procession to arrive here at Forest Lawn Cemetery in Glendale. And as you can see behind me now, people are lining up awaiting the arrival of the casket, the hearse to arrive with the family and so forth and so on. There are literally hundreds and hundreds of police officers, not just from around Kern County, but from around Southern California as well, as they are here to pay their last respects to Officer David Nelson. The casket containing the body of Bakersfield police officer David Nelson is unloaded at the Hall of Liberty. An honor guard stands at attention. David Nelson was just 26 years old, a 2-year veteran of the Bakersfield Police Department.
I take great pride in the fact that we got to spend 2 years with Officer David Nelson, that we had him for that long, serving our community, and really just being a exemplary police officer who was very brave, very courageous.
His life ended too soon, killed in the line of duty when his patrol vehicle crashed into a wall during a high-speed pursuit early Friday morning. The outpouring of support has been overwhelming. Many public officials from Bakersfield came to his funeral.
It's imperative that the police officers know that they have our support, and when something like this happens, you drop everything and be here.
Those who knew him say it was a job he loved doing and was proud to do it.
Did his job day in and day out, came to work with enthusiasm and ready to protect our community, which he's not even from.
His death touches not just his family, but his brothers and sisters in law enforcement.
God calls you home when it's his time, not yours. We all think in terms of a 26-year-old, and he's got life in front of him, and it's for us it's the saddest thing that could ever happen. And I know his family's got to be grieving tremendously. I thank him for the service that he was doing for the city.
You can see the hundreds of law enforcement personnel, many from the Kern County Sheriff's Department, as well as throughout Kern County, are now here lining up, awaiting the arrival of the casket, which should be at any moment. The burial service began the funeral service started at about 1:30, but it has run obviously long, and then had to make its way here to the park where the burial will actually take place. Again, the officers obviously feeling the personal loss of their fellow brother and officer who was killed in the line of duty. Reporting live from Glendale, I'm Jose Gaspar. Now back to you in the studio.
Jose, thank you.
Well, today's funeral for Officer Nelson lasting for nearly 2 hours as friends, family, and co-workers shared stories about the fallen officer.
Eyewitness News reporter Matt Boone has a look at today's services. Matt.
Courtney, David Nelson was remembered as a hero, not just for being a police officer, but for his actions in everyday life. Media was not allowed into the funeral services. However, the family did make a recording of them available online. California Attorney General Kamala Harris was there, making opening remarks, addressing Officer Nelson's family directly.
Your son was taken from us far too soon. But the ultimate sacrifice he made cannot, and I promise you, will not be forgotten.
Those who knew him described him as energetic, upbeat, caring, and passionately loyal.
It doesn't matter if you met him once or if you've known him your whole life. His personality was so infectious that it was guaranteed to leave an indelible impression.
David is a warrior, a leader, a guardian, and a brother.
One friend remembered him particularly for his tenacity.
We tried to convince him that Chick-fil-A should not be consumed at the amount he ate it. Didn't buy it.
Another remembering him for his near boundless energy.
We'd be at the gym or playing basketball, But then he'd come straight home and ask if I wanted to get in a bag workout on Phil's punching bag out back. I honestly don't know when he ever slept.
And his uncle, recalling even from an early age Officer Nelson's sense of selflessness and dedication.
David's ideology was a simple one. We see it emblazoned on police vehicles across the land: to protect and to serve. His goal in life was a reflection of the Bakersfield PD's mission statement. He was committed to achieving excellence in public safety by conducting himself with honor.
If you'd like to watch today's services in their entirety, a link is available on our website, bakersfieldnow.com. In studio, Matt Boone, Eyewitness News.
Here is that live motorcade that Tom referred to, now entering Glendale. It's been a long day for officers from across the state who are memorializing Officer Nelson.
Yeah, and a lot of people from Bakersfield, of course, public officials, local people in law enforcement, again, Attorney General Kamala Harris from the state of California, all a part of that procession there. Quite a big police force showing up to show their support to Officer Nelson's family.
Again, these are officers, law enforcement from across California who are attending the service. As it happens, unfortunately, every time an officer falls in the line of duty here. The funeral services began around 1:30. As you see the hearse now entering your picture, carrying Officer Nelson's body. Again, services began around 1:30, as our Jose Gaspar noted there, and they've gone a little over what they had planned, but law enforcement waiting for the hearse to arrive there for Officer Nelson's body to be laid to rest.
Yeah, of course, a lot of law enforcement there gathered outside. And there is the hearse containing Officer Nelson's casket, where he will soon be taken out and laid to rest at the graveside service at Forest Lawn, Glendale. They'll be doing that momentarily. They have appears the back of the hearse open, getting ready to take that out. Of course, the pallbearers are gathering, and that will happen shortly.
That's right. And law enforcement, again, from across California, descending upon Southern California, just for Officer Nelson's funeral and burial. The funeral service began at 1:30 and continue as you see there today in Glendale.
We'll continue to follow this for you, but for right now, we'll be right back.
Welcome back to our continuing coverage, remembering Officer David Nelson of the Bakersfield Police Department. The officer now being laid to rest at Forest Lawn Cemetery in Glendale.
That's right. Officer Nelson, of course, from Burbank, not far from Glendale, so that's where he will be laid to rest. He grew up in Burbank. He graduated from Burbank High School, worked as a police cadet in that city from 2008 to 2012, and now this is his final resting place, the Forest Lawn Cemetery in Glendale. You can hear those. We will let you listen in to the sounds of that salute going on right now.
Over, arch.
And you see officers from across the state standing at attention now, waiting for the casket carrying Officer David Nelson. You heard bagpipes and the officers saluting, and it looked like a contingent of Kern County Sheriff's deputies just arriving as well.
Kurt, this is Jose Gaspar here at Graveside Service. We are a few yards away from the actual service where the ceremony is taking place right now. The casket was unloaded just a couple of minutes ago, and as you just mentioned, everybody is at attention now as the ceremony has begun. This will be the burial, the final resting place for Officer David Nelson. A roughly 3-hour church service began at 1:30 at nearby Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Hollywood Hills, and then the procession, the motorcade, slowly made its way through the surface streets, finally arriving here at Forest Lawn in Glendale, roughly about 5:10 this evening. There is also a Los Angeles Police Department mounted detail that's going to be participating in the ceremony as well. Many dignitaries in and around Kern County. Kern County District Attorney Lisa Green is here. Bakersfield Mayor Harvey Hall. City Councilman Terry Maxwell, among some of the people from the government level attending here. And of course, the fellow brothers and sisters of Mr. Nelson that are here to pay their respects. Many of them from agencies that are no more than perhaps 7 to 8 officers total, from some of the very small departments to, of course, the very large ones. A good representation from the Los Angeles Police Department is here, as well as the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department are also here as well. And as you can see, Kern County Sheriff's deputies on scene have made a very strong presence as well. There is an honor guard that has been escorting the body of David Nelson ever since it arrived here on Friday from Bakersfield, and they have been here 24 hours a day, guarding and escorting the casket wherever it has gone. David Nelson, of course, was just 26 years old, and that's one thing that makes it so very hard for everybody here to understand, to contemplate, as he now enters his final resting place here at Forest Lawn Cemetery in Glendale. For now, I'm Jose Gaspar in Glendale. I'll toss it back to you.
All right, thanks, Jose. We'll be right back. Welcome back to our continuing coverage of the funeral of Officer David Nelson from the Bakersfield Police Department. We are looking live in Glendale, where his body is being laid to rest, and also what appears to be a trio of helicopters. You only see 2 on your screen there. There were 3 in the procession flying above Officer Nelson's funeral this afternoon.
Of course, they're down in the Glendale area at the Forest Lawn Cemetery. Right now, dignitaries, members of law enforcement from multiple agencies here in Bakersfield and also from the LA area are gathered there to remember Officer David Nelson, a Bakersfield police officer who was killed in the line of duty last Friday during a police pursuit. He will now reach his final resting place there at that cemetery, where they are burying him right now.
That's right. Our Jose Gaspar has been out there since yesterday, giving us details on the funeral and what is happening there with officers from all across the state. Jose, can you fill us in right now?
I'm not sure we have Jose right now, but he has been out there all day as the funeral services have been going on since about 1:30. He's been reporting for us, filling in the blanks. Jose, if you're there, you can cut in at any time.
You can see a large contingent of officers there, as Courtney just mentioned, from across California. What you're seeing there are a large contingent of officers from the Kern County Sheriff's Department there in the khaki-colored shirts and in the forest green uniform there, on honor guard also. And as Courtney mentioned, the LAPD, LA County Sheriffs there as well, and officers from around California from even very small departments. We have our Jose Gaspar there live. Jose, go ahead.
Yes, Kurt, if you can hear me now, we have to deal with a lot of moving parts here to this story because the media is being held back and a little bit, and we have to comply with the rules and regulations here at Forest Lawn, and everybody has been doing that so far. You mentioned the trio of helicopters. Those came in just as the bagpipes were playing, and then one of them diverted off, and the other 2 kept going to symbolize that an officer has fallen down. As you mentioned, the outpouring here of support has just been nothing short of amazing. The law enforcement personnel, it doesn't matter really whether you're CHP, BPD, Delano, Shafter, or whatever your agency may belong to, because in the long run, as one officer told me who did not wish to speak in camera, he said, you know, at the end of the day, we want to come home, and it doesn't matter what agency you belong to. We just want to come home to the family. When one of us takes a hit, we all take a hit. That was from an officer from Los Angeles Police Department who I spoke with a little while ago. But right now the service appears to be wrapping up. It should be wrapping up shortly. The family obviously here They do not wish to make any statement to the media as far as they prefer to keep it that way. But this service that started roughly at about 1:30 in nearby Hollywood Hills should be coming to an end in about the next 5 to 10 minutes. And of course, we will have complete coverage on this funeral coming up tonight on Eyewitness News as well. For now, Jose Gaspar live in Glendale. Now back to you.
All right, Jose, thank you. We'll be right back.